Just our usual professional selves.
Yeah, absolutely. Have faith, man. Have faith.
In you?
Wow. Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your two usual hosts here. Got Mr. Tom Mannering
Hello.
and myself, Josh Hartley. How are we doing this week, Tom?
I'm good. I am good. I am glad that it is the weekend, both when you are listening to this, dear listener, and as we are recording it, because we're doing this one a little closer to the wire than we usually do.
Yes.
Because we've been busy bees through the week.
Both of us, yes.
Both of us. So I'm really glad that it's the weekend and we get to just chill and just relax, you know. And I say that to the listeners as well. Just sit back, chill, stop what you're doing unless you're like driving or something. Then keep doing that.
Yeah, great. Concentrate, eyes on the road.
Yeah. And just enjoy what you're about to hear.
Okay. Didn't expect quite that response from the how's your week been, but yeah, enjoy what you're about to hear, guys. So, have you been up to much?
Yes, I have. I've had, as I said, I've had quite a busy week. I've had a few games going on, which I'll discuss now or later.
Go for it.
Okay, let's do it now. So I've had
dive in.
Just dive in, just get to it. That's what the people want to hear. So we've obviously had high level Pathfinder on Tuesday this week. So that's our mythic game that you are present in, along with
Lokag, the Goliath barbarian.
Yes, along with the rest of the team. We'd not played it for a while.
Months now, hasn't it?
I think it was a good month or two.
This is a tricky thing. So, for the listeners who are unaware, we have a game every other Tuesday, but we alternate it between the Star Wars system that Fantasy Flight came out with and Pathfinder. So effectively, we play one of those games once a month, assuming everyone can make it. But to paraphrase Jeff Goldblum, life gets in the way.
It's the curse of any GM and group is scheduling, right? It's always a thing, and I think in general our group is actually quite good. We've had a fixed night now for 7 years. I think it's been a hell of a long time.
2013?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, 8 years.
So I think we used to do Monday was our night. And then we shifted it to
That's
Tuesday.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we used to be weekly on a Monday, and we used to play at Geek Retreat in Glasgow. And there was that goddamn kid that stood on one of my boxes one night, and I nearly murdered him.
I forgot all about that.
I didn't. I still remember, kid. The box is I can see the box in my peripheral vision right now, and it's still damaged.
You see the dent.
I can feel it. I know it's there.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I haven't forgotten.
It's okay.
But we used to play in Geek Retreat on a Monday night, and we used to play weekly. And then we moved. I'm not sure if we moved to a Tuesday first, but we moved to Flats for a while, and I think we went down to Drury Street, and we played there for a while.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Playing in a pub.
And then we moved up to my flat.
Yes.
And we moved to alternating Tuesdays at that point because of shifts and things for people.
Because I've been in juries since we were there, playing Pathfinder, and like a few times that I've been in since then, I've seen other people playing like D&D or Pathfinder or Call of Cthulhu or whatever. Did we set a trend?
No, we're not trendsetters, mate. I don't know why. But for whatever reason, Drury's has always had a bit of a board gaming and a tabletop gaming community that have kind of lingered there. I think it's because they allow it, and it is kind of a thing that once one or two people have done it, it becomes a bit more commonplace. So we did Pathfinder Society stuff there back in the day. We'd do the odd event there, and I remember we took up like half the bar once, And then one time we were scheduled to do an event there, and there was a rugby match on at the same day, and we went in, and it just was not functional. Like, you couldn't have half a bar D&D and half a bar, rugby supporters watching a match. So yeah, we did that, and then we moved up to the flat, and then obviously we moved online with COVID and things. So it's been a long running event, so that helps with our scheduling a little bit, because people in general do make the effort to attend it because they know it's going to happen, but sometimes things happen that just do hinder that going off. So yeah, we got to play that, and that was nice. We did some combat. You're making your way through a frost giant keep at the moment, which has been a good little palate cleanser for me. I've done a lot of sort of story intense RPs recently for one reason, and just having a pretty simple, I don't want to call it a dungeon crawler, but it was something akin to that.
Smash the enemy.
Yeah, it's always nice. And I did put a bit of role playing in it, and you guys just ignored it. So
well, we had haste cast on us, and Powers managed to kill the monster in like one round of combat that we were cast. So he was quite. We were all quite conscious that, well, this is going to run out soon, so we need to get to the next combat so that we can make the most out of this this thing. So we kind of just dismissed this one little guy. So
the one little guy who had all the information about the traps and the boss and all this stuff, and then you immediately ran face first into another trap that he was about to warn you about. But hey ho, there you go. So we had that. That was really good. Wednesday I ran Star Trek again.
Oh yeah, how's that going? We haven't heard about that in a while.
It's going well. Yeah, we're still working our way through. So that's a monthly game as well. Although we've moved to fortnightly at the moment, I'm giving the GM who runs the alternate game a bit of time off. So we're doing that fortnightly at the moment, and we're just playing through a storyline, a little mini arc, if you will. Where they are investigating. What I like is it's a scripted adventure, and it's actually from the starter box. So if you're interested in playing Star Trek, and you're going to be doing the starter box adventure, you want to close your ears for a minute, because
spoilers
we're going to touch on spoilers. In the adventure, there are neural parasites which appear in one episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Wow. Okay.
But they've sort of expanded them into a full sort of mini arc, a 3-part campaign, where you kind of you find out that these neural parasites have infested in Romulans, which are the evil Vulcans for anyone who's not a Trekkie, and they have allied. Well, they've not allied. They've captured some Klingons as well, and they're trying to infect the Klingons, but the Klingons are resilient to it. And you have this whole thing where they're kind of there's a trail of breadcrumbs, metaphorically speaking, that the players and their ship follow, where they sort of backtrack on what's gone on with these neural parasites, and then find out that they're going to infiltrate the Federation, which they're part of, obviously. And that's where we're kind of getting to. So they've been on a Klingon space station that was abandoned, and they found a Federation ship that had been crashed, and they went into that and found a couple of neural parasite infected Romulans, and then they had a fight with a neural parasite infected Klingon, so you get kind of the usual duking it out, and because the party has a Klingon in it, the Klingon ran up and they started duking, classic Klingon warrior style.
Nice.
And then now they're on their way to sort of the last the home base of these neural parasites and where this is all kind of coming from. So it's been really interesting. It's fun doing something that is kind of episodic, but in the same way has a little bit of a storyline running through it as well. And the thing I do like about Star Trek as a role-playing game is it's built to be very much about exploration and investigation, and really kind of drawing out the RP elements of Star Trek. And it does have combat in it, probably much more combat than your standard sort of Star Trek episode would have, especially something like Next Generation. But it feels Trekkie. It feels appropriate to the universe, which is really nice. And I've done my usual, on Roll20, I've got all the sound effects and everything else, and all the background noise. So I've kind of tried to make it as immersive as it can be without sounding like a douchebag. So that's been really good fun. I really enjoyed that.
How are the players taking to it now that they're quite a bit in? If that makes sense.
Yeah, they're getting there. The guys. One thing I always say, right, and I think I've maybe even said this on here. You've got to get your players buying to a game. Mm-hmm. There's no point running a game for someone if they don't enjoy it. And you can get people who are maybe going to be a bit on the fence, and they'll be like, I don't know, but I'll give it a go. And I think if you give a game a fair shake and you don't enjoy it, you've got to turn around and say, this isn't for me. Yeah. Whether it's the system, whether it's the setting, whether it's the group dynamic, whatever it might be, there's no shame, I think, in turning around and saying, I've tried it, I've given it a good shake, I've tried to kind of mesh with it, it's not for me, and just stepping away, in a good way. And I've had that done to me as a GM. I've done it as a player, and I've had discussions with people as a GM as well, where I've had to have a bit of a tough chat and say, is this a game that you're actually enjoying? Because I don't feel like you are, and if you're not enjoying it, it's detrimental. So I made sure when I pitched this game to this group, I said, this is what it's going to be, this is the kind of environment it's going to be, this is what it's going to be a lot of, and I'm very fortunate that the group are largely quite sizable Trek fans.
Okay.
Which goes in its favour.
Because that was something I was going to check in on with anyone who just isn't a bit like me. I'm not. It's not like I hate Star Trek, but like I've never watched it properly.
Yeah.
I've seen the odd episode, obviously, but like I've never followed it.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, because I think you can enjoy something without being a fan of it. I mean, I can use myself as an example. I don't like Age of Sigmar as a setting, and I've been fairly vocal about that historically. But when Scott offered me to play in his Age of Sigmar game, I said, yeah, I'll come and have a go at it, and I'll see if I like it. And actually playing his game warmed me up to the Age of Sigmar setting, because I saw it from a different angle, and I got an appreciation of it. And I think as well, if you've got a GM who's really passionate about something and they really enjoy something, that passion can rub off on you, for want of a better way of saying that.
Please think of a different phrase.
But their enthusiasm can become infectious. There you go.
There we are.
And you kind of feed off that energy, and it draws you into it. And while I do have my own bugbears with the Age of Sigmar system, overall I have a generally favourable disposition to it now.
It's been a fun game.
Yeah, so. Which I didn't have previously, and that's exactly what you've got to get in these kinds of situations. I do have one of the players that I don't think is a massive Trek fan, but they've engaged with the game, and it's kind of drawn them into it a little bit. And we saw it with like the Star Wars campaign as well, and things like that. It just takes a bit of time with some people.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So that was Wednesday night, and here we are at Friday.
Well, hang on, because there's Thursday as well, which was a big one.
Oh, jeez,
So Thursday I did
gaming 7 days a week, Mr. Mannering here.
I know, right? Like I'm dedicated to the cause. So on Thursday night I did our Twitch stream for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which you were present for, and we hit our Twitch affiliate status.
Air horns.
So I'm very pleased to say that after Thursday night stream, we are now Twitch affiliated, which means that people can subscribe to us. There's a few extra perks that are unlocked if you do subscribe. We have a bit more control of things we can do now as well on it, which is really good. So it means that when we go forward with the continuation of that, and hopefully when you start adding on some content, when things are in a better position for you, we're going to have a bit more option to interact with people through Twitch, and it's been really nice having that kind of direct interaction with people as well. I've met some new people that I didn't know through it, which it's been quite good.
Yeah, it's been fun. I will tune in as a mod and basically throw random abuse at you,
which is an interesting turn of our usual interaction.
Yes. No, it's been great fun watching you play through Wrath of the Righteous. So yes, obviously, if you want to show your support to the Unlucky Frog, by all means, head on over to Twitch, subscribe. You can, of course, send us your Jeff Bezos books and subscribe using your Amazon Prime.
Josh, how else could our listeners support the Unlucky Frog?
Well, I'm really glad you asked that, Tom. Of course, we have our Patreon. So link below to our Patreon. You can donate as little as $1 a month, but there are perks if you donate more, including a chance to have a game with Tom and I and some of the other $5. It's $5, isn't it?
That's the $10 perk.
$10. Got it wrong.
Yep, that's if you subscribe.
Fix that in post.
If you subscribe for 6 months at $10, you'll get a personal invitation to have a game with myself and Josh. If you subscribe for $5, you will get a shout out on the episode, as well as access to some behind the scenes material that we will be adding, and some little bonus featurettes as well that we're gonna work on in the future months, probably when Josh has moved and isn't quite so chaotic.
We should, just a real life update from me. It looks like I will be moving house at the end of October. So, I'm yet to get a settlement date confirmed, but my solicitor today asked me what I want for my settlement date, which usually means I'm in a position to get something agreed. So, it's all happening. It's all coming up, Josh.
So what aside from obviously your discussions with your solicitor, I'm conscious I've talked for literally 15 minutes about what I've been up to. What have you been up to this week?
I know I have done things. I was in your Pathfinder game.
Yeah, we can't talk about that again.
Yeah, rewind like a few minutes back, listener, and just what Tom said.
Just listen to that whole section again.
On Wednesday night, I was playing Paper Magic: The Gathering with some of my friends from school, so nice. that was good fun. It was Commander again, and we were playing. We managed to fit 2 games in. I got another. I think it's going to be the last game I play with the pre-constructed Dungeons and Dragons deck that you've played against, Tom. I got the white, blue, green equipment and auras matter deck, so I lost to now. What decks were the other? Rory is quite new to Magic, and he has built his own Sigrada deck. That's a green white angel, so it's a load of humans. And Chris beat us all, but what did he beat us with in the first game? I cannot remember for the life of me. The second game, Chris won as well with the Gitrog monster, which, if you've ever played against the Gitrog monster, is a horrible deck. And it was, although I was playing gloves off. I was playing my new Enchantress deck. So that's just a green-white deck that you play loads of enchantments and you draw cards every time you draw an enchantment. So that's me all over.
God, just sitting watching Josh playing games with himself. I've had that experience.
Yeah,
it's like legendary great. All over again.
It's great.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But Chris won, so you know. So.
Yeah, but how long did he have to sit and watch you draw cards for as part of that? He deserved to win. I don't know the guy, but I think he deserved to win.
Yeah, I might have had one turn that took a while.
Yeah, I imagine he did.
Yes. It's all good.
I do have one other thing as well. So it's not something I have done, but it's something I will be doing. So I got a delivery today, as I want to do. I like to get things ordered for the end of the week, so I can do stuff with them when they drop. And I ordered some more Crisis Protocol miniatures.
Are we gonna need to stage an intervention?
No, it's fine.
No, okay. What did you get this time?
I have got. I ordered a Punisher and Taskmaster. So I've got a wee, for Josh's benefit, a wee Punisher and Taskmaster.
I am not familiar with Taskmaster.
So, if you'd seen the new Black Widow film, you would be, although it's kind of a bastardization of the character. Taskmaster is a villain, and his whole shtick is he has a photographic memory that also engages with his nervous system. So he when he sees things, he not only remembers them, but he can physically mirror them perfectly.
Okay.
So he's really cool as a villain, because when someone attacks him, he can like perfectly mimic their combat style. So like when Captain America like throws his shield at him and stuff, he can like catch it out of the air and throw it back. And when he's fighting like all the different heroes, like he becomes more and more deadly almost the more people he engages with, because he just learns more and more styles. And like the only way they can typically beat him is like to get him in situations where he either like can't interact with what they're doing, or like where they just go complete chaos on him and there's no style, there's no technique to it, which is quite cool. And Punisher's just a guy with a gun who's awesome.
Yeah, I know the Punisher. Frank Castle.
Yep.
So to give him his Christian name.
So he's. I didn't get it for Taskmaster, but I am really happy he's in there, because I am going to make a villain team at some point, and he'll definitely be part of that. But the reason I got Punisher is to flesh out my Defenders team. So I'm building a team loosely based on Marvel's Netflix series, so the Defenders. So I've got Luke Cage, I've got Iron Fist, I've got Daredevil. They're all painted now as well. And I've got Punisher now to flesh it out a bit.
Okay. You just need out of that crew Elektra then?
Well,
the last one.
If I was doing the actual show, I'd need Jessica Jones is the last hero, and then you could take like Elektra. She's in the Daredevil series, so you could take her as well. But neither of them have models yet, unfortunately. So I'm going to sub in probably Black Widow, just to give a sort of female representation of that member of the Defenders. But I'm also going to bring in elements of the comic Defenders as well, because you have to have a 10-man squad in Crisis Protocol to pick from. So I'll probably take in like Doctor Strange and Hulk and a few other characters as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. How are you getting on with painting them though?
Well, for me is probably the better way to put it. So as I say,
I'm sure that's good.
No, I don't mean quality-wise. I mean, but that does apply as well. But I mean, like progress-wise, I'm not great at sort of as I have hinted in what I've discussed earlier. I'm quite busy, so sitting down and actually painting is not something I get a lot of time for. But I've painted Daredevil. He was the first one I got and the first one I painted. Then I painted Iron Fist. Then I've painted Luke Cage. I've got Bullseye sprayed up and ready to go, but I'm probably going to jump him and work on Punisher tomorrow.
Sure.
I'm actually doing a hobby night after this recording with a couple of my friends, where we're going to do some painting. So I'm going to make a start on that, I think. So I'm actually quite proud of myself, because it's rare that I buy something and actually sit down and paint it, within like a month of owning it. It's usually like goes in the cupboard of shame, and then I'll maybe pull it out and do some painting like 2 years later.
Remember, kids, we don't engage with our hobby, we hoard it like some sort of jealous dragon.
Not only do we hoard it, we hide it. You hoard it and you hide it like a dragon with a really big porn collection.
Well, we've got this week's episode title now. So. Oh, excellent. And you were planning on getting a game in soon with Ben from Ashen Holdout, although, like you were saying, he can't make it this weekend, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, I'll pause so you can put the air horns in for Ashen Holdout. And we're going to get a game in soon. We were hoping to do it this weekend, but obviously things happen. But the good thing is about that is it gives me a bit of extra time to get more of them painted up, because I think Ben's probably going to rock up with either a fully painted team or a mostly painted team, because that's Ben's job.
Yes.
And I know that Ben's painting is obviously going to be better than mine, because again, that's Ben's job.
His job.
But if I can at least field a fully painted team, I'll feel better, about myself. At the very least. I probably won't have my terrain painted up just yet. That's
well, I was going to ask you about that. You're going to get some like New York City streets stuff.
So you get some in the starter box. So you get a newsstand, you get a couple of cars, you get a couple of lampposts and traffic lights and things. Okay. So I've got all those built, but I haven't even made a start on spraying or painting them. But I thought team first. Then I'll do one team first, then I'll do the terrain, and maybe sort out a board. But I don't want to buy any more terrain or board until I move myself, because I'm going to be moving in the next 3 months as well.
Yeah.
So I'll wait till I've moved, and then I'll look to kind of potentially expand on my terrain for it.
Nice.
But I think I'm going to do something a bit different.
Okay.
Because all the boards I've seen on the various communities are your kind of generic New York City board. That's not to say they don't look cool. I have seen quite a few of these generic boards, and they're nice and they're very clean, but they're not really my style. So what I'm thinking of doing is I might do like a post-apocalyptic city board. With like, it looks like it's been maybe bombed, or there's been some sort of big dramatic event, because you get stuff like that in comics all the time.
Well, I was thinking climax of insert Marvel film here, like
Endgame, Infinity War.
It was an Avengers film. I haven't seen either of those two. Probably what's the one with Age of Ultron? It gets a bit
Age of Ultron. Yeah, no, that's a good shout actually. Yeah, that kind of ruined board. So I was thinking about doing something like that, and getting like, I've seen a couple of other companies that do ruined cities, modern day.
It's a nice 2-for-1, because you can use that for 40k as well. See? I know you. You're a savvy guy. So I see you, Tom. I see you.
Yeah. That may have been what went through my head when I was coming up with that idea. I was like, how can I get the most for this project? So yeah, I'm gonna do something like that, I think, and have that as kind of a long-term project. One thing I do quite want for my new place of living, wherever that ends up being, is I want to get some sort of space for gaming. Whether it's, I've been looking at like houses rather than flats, and I'm thinking I might get either something with a garage, because I don't have a car, so that's a space I can use for something else, a conservatory, or a shed, like a big shed, and then actually do that as a proper gaming space and have some proper boards set up in it. So yeah, I think that might be a good idea for the new place, and I'd quite like to have like a 40k option, maybe a Crisis Protocol, and maybe something I can swap in for fantasy stuff as well.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like on the subject of gaming spaces, I too will have a dedicated, well, maybe not a dedicated gaming room, but I will have a room that will probably be mostly used for gaming. It'll have a table in that I suppose you can eat on. But like, I'm one of the reception rooms in the house though will have like, that will be where I get to do my tabletop gaming there. I am really tempted to. I'm gonna see how money goes, I think, with moving and buying any additional furniture and the like. I do kind of want to get one of the bespoke gaming tables, but they are very expensive.
They are very expensive. The thing is, as well, like, you can quite easily make one.
Well, this was the other thought process I had. I could either try and get the blueprints and get a cabinet maker to make them for me, or what I've heard of people doing is like getting existing tables and modifying them, basically.
Yeah.
So that you have like the hidden table underneath.
It's basically one table with like a layer on top of it that you can take off, and then you've got access to the under table. See, I thought about something like that, but I kind of want like a normal area that I can do like just role playing and relaxing in. I don't really think that needs like a dedicated space. I know some people do like that, and that's fine, but I tend to think that's a little bit excessive. I think as long as you've got like somewhere you can put like a mat down and pawns and things, I don't need 3D terrain and stuff unless it's a special thing, and in which case that's going to be a once or twice occasion, so it's not worth the whole space. But with wargaming stuff, especially, having to constantly break it down and put it away and all that is a nightmare. It takes me a good hour to an hour and a half in total setting up all my wargaming stuff and breaking it all back down again and boxing it all up and putting it all away. It takes ages. That's why whenever we're having a game over here, I'll always be like, what are we playing? What do we need? And then I'll have everything out and ready before people even turn up. Because otherwise it's like, watch me lift boxes for 30 minutes. Which is no fun.
No, exactly. That's not why I'm here. But yeah, the other thing I need to think of is storage, because I was already running out of space to stash my stuff in my flat in Glasgow, so I am going to need to buy some shelving. I'm probably going to default to the tabletop gamer's favourite, the IKEA Kallax, for that. Although, I think I might get some glass cabinets for the miniatures, so I can have those on display. So.
I went a bit more budget for mine, and I just got a bookshelf, which has worked fine for me. The only downside, and this was told to me beforehand, is they get a bit dusty.
Yeah.
But I just have a little makeup brush that I keep nearby, and every so often I'll just give them a little dust along, and just make sure they're all. Here you go, all Mr. Just checking on them. You all right, buddy? Doing okay? Give him a wee
Tom
dust.
doesn't talk to his miniatures. You don't talk to your miniatures, do you?
No.
No, cool. Moving on. Actually, what else do we need to cover? Like, listener, I'll be honest. Before we hit record tonight, I just went to Tom. All right, I've got nothing this week.
The thing is, we do this every week, right? And there's not news every week. Like, especially at a time like now, you've got convention season, so people are holding stuff back for conventions. So you're not going to see a whole lot.
Essen will be around the corner.
Yeah.
So it's again going to be interesting to see how that pans out. UK Games Expo and Gen Con both appear to have gone ahead without any serious outbreaks with coronavirus, so that gives me a lot of confidence moving into next year, when I'm probably going to be looking at attending conventions again. So, and
of course, Albacon will be winding down just as this episode is going on.
Of course, yes. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to it already, go back and listen to our episode a couple of weeks ago where we had David Wright on from Albacon and Tabletop Scotland, talking about both of those things. So I'm sure that all went well, and it was a big success.
I think the only bit of news that I had to bring to the table, in so much as it is that Critical Role, which I am a known fan of, have announced their third campaign is starting soon.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. We don't have a whole lot of detail,
right?
So this is fairly nebulous at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be the original cast will all be back, because they had sort of a mini campaign in the middle there where they had a bit of a mix of new and old. But they're going to have the original cast back. I think from what I understand, it's going to be the same sort of universe as well. There is an announcement, I think, on their site if you want to go and watch it in full. I did watch it, but I did that thing where you put something on and you're not really paying attention to it. And I got to the end of it and I was like, what did they say? Which is on me, right? But I've been busy, as I said. So yeah, do go and watch their announcement if you want to know more about that. But I am quite excited about that, and I will probably rewatch that video and take it in. Just relax and take it in.
And I won't watch it because I'm not going to fall into the trap of new campaign. I'll keep up.
This is where I'll start, Tom. This is where I'll start, as you lied to me at the start of the last campaign.
Yeah. Well,
and I said,
what can
no,
I say?
You won't, Josh.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? And I know a lot of people who are really into Critical Role, and it's easy to see why, right? It's very polished production. They're all very. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. They are all voice actors, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So clearly they're very good at that. Not only role playing in general, but their craft of performance. So I can see why it's appealing. The thing for me, it's a lot of content. I mean, how long is each episode? 3 hours?
3 to 4 hours.
Yeah. Once a week. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot, and and I seldom watch TV shows as it is, let alone TV shows that are 3 to 4 hours long a week.
No, it is a big time sink, 100%, and that's kind of been. It has been a roadblock for a lot of people, and even for myself, there's been times that I've fallen behind with it, and I've had to binge watch like 12 hours of content, like on a Sunday not Sunday afternoon, a Sunday. You know, I'll get up at 10, I'll put 3 episodes on back to back, and I'll just sort of sit there and melt slightly. But it gets me up to date with the content, so I do understand why it is a bit of a barrier for some people. I think one of the cool things is obviously because of the Kickstarter, they're going to be getting the animated show, and that'll be a nice point of entry for people who maybe want to absorb some of the content, but in a more digestible and managed way.
That I might watch.
Yeah.
Might.
Might being the big operative word
Might.
there. But I mean, that's of the first campaign as well, which a lot of people do think is their best campaign.
Yes.
I kind of go back and forth. But I think that'll be, really, really good. And there's 2 seasons of it already been announced, so there's going to be plenty there.
Yeah. Awesome. Rightio. And I think on that note, and Tom is giving me the twirly of the finger, wrap this stuff up so that you can go to your hobby hangout night. So
it's actually so I can get some dinner, but
oh, okay, yeah. Food is important. Yes. Well, look, guys, thank you very much for listening, and as always, take care.
Thanks very much.
Bye. Bye.